Have you ever felt that there's something inside you? Something you can't quite explain, but that calls you toward a greater path? Sometimes this feeling comes as a soft whisper deep within your soul, almost imperceptible, yet persistent. Other times, it shows up as a sudden silence, a moment when the world seems to pause just long enough for you to realize there's something alive within you, something that refuses to go out, even when everything around you feels dark. Many people ignore this feeling, others fear it, but you and somehow know it isn't there by accident. There is a light within you, a light that few people can see, but that everyone can feel once they allow silence to touch the heart. It's not an ordinary light, not one that depends on electricity or circumstances. It's a light that doesn't bend to the world, because it wasn't born from the world. It was born from purpose. And more than that, it was born from a gift. A gift Jesus placed inside every person he chooses to illuminate. While the outer world rushes, shouts, competes, and searches for quick answers and empty distractions, there is an inner world that continues to shine, even when you don't notice it. A quiet, deep world where the light Jesus placed within you stays lit, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. It's strange how we live surrounded by noise, yet it's in silence that true light awakens. Strange how we seek approval outside, when the real strength has always lived inside, pulsing quietly, waiting to be acknowledged. Why do some people feel this light so strongly? Why do others try to hide it, as if trying to cover the sun with a door? Maybe because those who feel it have already been touched by spiritual sensitivity. Maybe those who hide it are afraid of seeing who they truly are. Or maybe the light bothers those who are used to the dark. But in every case, there is something Jesus knows about you, something you may not fully understand yet. This light is not a detail, it is a mission. And in this video, you will discover exactly what Jesus says about this light he placed in you, and why it should never be allowed to go out. His words were never given at random. They carry direction, strength, purpose. Words that can deeply change the way you see yourself, and the way you see your own story. If you've ever felt that something inside you shouldn't fade, something that insists on shining even on your hardest days, then this message is for you. Because what Jesus says about this light can completely reshape the path you're about to walk. The light Jesus places inside a person isn't made of matter, doesn't feed on lamps, and doesn't depend on what the eyes can see. It is spiritual. It's like a gentle flame born at the center of the soul, lit by a divine breath no darkness can extinguish. This light doesn't belong to your body. It belongs to your purpose. It isn't limited to what you've lived so far, but to what you're still destined to become. It's a delicate blend of awareness, mission, and existence. A kind of spiritual signature Jesus leaves in every person he awakens from within. This light reveals itself at the most unexpected moments. Sometimes it rises in silence, when the world finally stops shouting and the soul finds room to breathe. Sometimes it appears in deep pain, as if the wound itself opened a doorway to something greater. And some people discover this light when everything seems lost, because when darkness grows too heavy, even the smallest glimmer becomes impossible to ignore. The light of Jesus often appears like that, a spark that insists on staying, even when everything around you tries to smother it. Maybe you've experienced something like this. A moment of pain when, strangely, you felt a strength that made no sense. A moment of confusion when a subtle intuition pushed you in the right direction. Or a quiet season when you somehow felt you weren't alone, even without seeing anyone. That is the light. That quiet presence, that gentle push that lifts you when you think you can't go on. It doesn't shout, demand, or force. It simply exists, and it exists because Jesus placed it there. Jesus has always been the one who sees beyond appearances. While many look at the surface, he looks at the unseen. He sees value where the world sees flaws. He sees destiny where others see weakness. He chooses unlikely people to carry light, not because they're perfect, but because they're sensitive. And spiritual sensitivity, even when painful, is one of the greatest doors to inner illumination. Sensitive hearts feel more, perceive more, connect more deeply with what the eyes can't explain. And it is exactly that kind of heart that becomes a temple for the light Jesus places within. Some people feel this light more intensely because they've walked through dark valleys, and only those who know the night can truly appreciate the first ray of sun. Others feel it because they've faced great losses, and every loss opens space for a new glow. There are also those who sense it because of purpose, that mysterious feeling that you're not here just to exist, but to fulfill something greater, even if you don't yet know what it is. And it's amazing how this light shapes your choices, thoughts, and instincts. Your intuition becomes stronger. Your empathy becomes deeper. Your heart becomes more tuned to what really matters. Still, this light doesn't exempt you from inner battles. In fact, it often brings them to the surface. It exposes old shadows, awakens deep questions, brings out fears, insecurities, and doubts that were dormant. Maybe you wonder why you feel so much, why you carry invisible weight, why certain things hurt more than they should. The answer is both simple and profound. Light reveals what needs healing. It doesn't expose you to wound you. It exposes you to set you free. That's why Jesus places light only in those he knows will shine. Not because you're already strong, but because he knows the strength that hasn't awakened in you yet. He knows who you can become. He knows what you carry, even when you don't. He sees courage hidden in your weaknesses, greatness in your silences, beauty in your scars. The light he placed in you is a calling to remember who you are, to remember you aren't here by accident, and that there is a path, perhaps quiet, perhaps slow, that only you can walk. Your inner battles aren't signs of failure. They're signs of transformation. The insecurity you feel isn't a lack of faith. It's your soul adjusting to recognize its own light. The fear that visits you isn't a lack of courage. It's a sign something important is about to be born. And the doubt that appears isn't absence of purpose. It's the doorway through which truth enters. The light within you is real. It was given, and it cannot be taken. It was chosen, and not by chance. And more than anything, it was placed there by Jesus, the one who knows your past, understands your present, and sees your future with a clarity you can't yet comprehend. There are moments when the soul seems to ask for silence, as if it's about to hear something that doesn't belong to the world, but to the spirit. And in those moments, the words of Jesus take on a different kind of glow. They're not just ancient phrases, not just memories from a distant time. They're living light, crossing centuries, reaching hearts, awakening awareness. When Jesus said, "You are the light of the world," he wasn't complimenting. He was revealing a truth many still struggle to accept about themselves. Being light doesn't mean being perfect. Being light doesn't mean never stumbling. Being light doesn't mean being admired. Being light means existing in such a way that your presence transforms the environment, even in silence. It means carrying something inside you that shines, even when you don't know how. When Jesus says you are the light of the world, he's saying the world needs the brightness only you can bring. A brightness that doesn't come from your achievements, but from your essence. A brightness that doesn't depend on applause, but on authenticity. He also said, "A city on a hill cannot be hidden." This statement holds a deep truth. You are seen, even when you try to hide. Even when you think no one notices what you carry. Even when you feel your light makes no difference. Jesus is saying that what he placed in you cannot be erased, disguised, or dimmed. And that explains why, at times, people are drawn to you without knowing why. Why some seek your presence for guidance even when you offer nothing, and why others distance themselves, uncomfortable with something you didn't even say. Light speaks, even when you stay quiet. Let your light shine before others. This isn't a command based on effort, but on essence. It's as if Jesus were saying, don't hide who you are. Don't dim what I've given you. Don't shrink the light I placed inside you. When light shines, it doesn't ask for permission. It simply fulfills its nature. And yet, many people try to hide their light out of fear, comparison, insecurity, or old wounds. The world isn't always ready for light, but the light is always ready for the world. Being light isn't self-promotion. It's not about being better than anyone. It's about being faithful to what you carry. When light shows itself, it transforms without noise. It reveals paths. It warms what was cold. It brings clarity where confusion once lived. That's why Jesus entrusts light to ordinary people, because he's not looking for spectacle, but transformation. He doesn't seek those who impress. He seeks those who illuminate. And yet, here is a truth many don't speak about. When you begin to shine, resistance appears. Light disrupts. Light exposes shadows. Light reveals truths some don't want to face. This can create conflict, tension, and unexpected distance. Sometimes you decide to shine, and the very next day, everything feels harder. People misunderstand you. Situations spiral. Problems that were asleep suddenly wake up, and the question rises in your chest. Why? Jesus answers, because you are light, and light creates movement. Shadows always stir when light comes near. It's in this space that Jesus brings you 3 words. Words that, once understood, shift the way you walk. Words that heal broken certainty and strengthen the spirit. Words that become lighthouse beams in deep nights, quiet guides on confusing days, invisible embraces in lonely moments. And these words are, keep going, trust, rise, keep going. This word is for the days when the sky feels silent, for the moments when you question everything, when life seems unresponsive, when paths that once felt clear become foggy. Jesus knows there are gray days, days when the soul feels heavy and the heart questions its worth. That's why he tells you, keep going even when you don't feel it. Keep going even when you can't see. Keep going even when you're tired. Because growth happens in silence. Roots form in the darkness of the soil long before any sprout appears. The same is happening in you. What's being built inside you isn't small. What's being born within you requires maturity, patience, surrender. Jesus knows this. He sees what you can't. He senses fruit you don't yet recognize. Keep going. Nothing you're living now is in vain. Trust. This word is for the days when the path feels invisible, when you want to walk forward but can't see where to step, when life asks you to let go without showing you what comes next, when you're doing everything right and nothing seems to move. True trust isn't about seeing, it's about sensing. It's knowing that invisible movements are happening in your favor, even when everything around you stays the same. Trust because doors are opening quietly. People are being prepared to cross your path. Situations are aligning in silence. Trust because Jesus never works on the surface. He works in the essence. He doesn't build shortcuts. He builds foundations. And every foundation requires time, depth, and courage. The faith that sees nothing is the faith that grows the most. And the light that lasts is the one that trusts even in darkness. Rise. This is the word of restoration, the word of courage, the word Jesus speaks when your heart is too tired to fight, when you feel like you've failed, fallen, or lost too many chances. Rising doesn't mean returning to who you were. Rising means being reborn within your own story. It means looking at yourself with mercy. It means taking a deep breath and saying, there is still something in me that isn't finished. Rising is a spiritual act, a quiet renewal, a declaration of dignity. When Jesus tells you, rise, he isn't demanding strength. He's reminding you of the strength that still exists. He's calling forth the light that was dimmed. He's touching the part of you the world tried to break but couldn't. These 3 words are not merely instructions. They are invitations. Invitations to walk, to trust, to rise whenever needed. And they come with a deeper truth. Jesus is telling you your light was never gone. It was simply covered by layers of fear, exhaustion, and doubt. But now he's calling you back. Back to the light he placed in you. Back to the essence the world tried to distort. Back to the path your spirit recognizes even when your mind doesn't. Keep going. Trust. Rise. These aren't words to be heard. They're words to be lived. They're reminders that the light within you is still alive, and always will be. When a light begins to grow, nothing around it stays the same. It's as if simply waking up to who you truly are transforms everything and everyone around you. Many people believe that once they begin to shine, life will finally fall into place, everything will be peaceful, and the path will be clear. But the deeper truth is this: every movement toward growth creates resistance. Every expansion triggers reactions, and every light, once revealed, disturbs whatever was comfortable in the dark. External conflicts are usually the first to appear. People who once walked beside you may begin drifting away. Not because you've done something wrong, but because light reveals different paths. Some prefer the familiar darkness they've always known, and when they see you shine, they feel they must move, but don't want to. Others mock, minimize, or doubt you. They aren't mocking you. They're mocking the light they don't understand. Light awakens insecurity in those who aren't ready to face their own shadows. Situations, strangely, may worsen right after you decide to change. As if the universe tests each step. As if invisible forces observe whether your glow is real or just a passing excitement. But this is not punishment, not rejection, not a sign that you're on the wrong path. It is spiritual confirmation. Light only meets resistance when it's working. Then come the internal conflicts, perhaps the hardest ones. Feelings of inadequacy rise like old echoes. Am I enough? The mind tries to convince you that you're unprepared, undeserving, incapable. Fears appear out of nowhere, like shadows trying to swallow the flame you just lit. There are moments when the urge to give up whispers louder than the desire to continue. But here is something essential to understand. These conflicts are not signs of weakness. They are signs of growth. Shadows always move when a light appears. Every time you choose to be true to yourself, an old part, one that lived hidden, tries to pull you back. It's like opening a closed door. As it moves, it uncovers dust, memories, and stories that must be cleaned before the light fully enters. Imagine light passing through a barely opened door. At first, only a thin ray enters, illuminating just a little. But as the door opens wider, the light spreads, revealing everything that was always there, but unseen. Spiritual growth is exactly this: opening inner doors, one by one, knowing the light will reveal truths you may not want to face, but need to face to become who you were meant to be. Picture a candle resisting the wind. It flickers, wavers, looks like it might go out. But if shielded, it stays lit and illuminates more than you think. Your light is like that, delicate yet stubborn, fragile yet persistent, small in the world's eyes yet powerful in the eyes of Jesus. Or think of a star against a dark sky. It doesn't change the entire night, yet its very presence transforms the scene. Light doesn't need to be enormous to be real. It needs to be constant. And constancy is what the soul learns when it decides not to give up. Here's the simple and profound truth. If your presence bothers some, it's because your light illuminates. If people react poorly, it's because your light reveals what they aren't ready to see. If situations stir, it's because your light is moving things that have been stagnant for years. And if part of you tries to sabotage yourself, It's because your soul knows it's getting close to becoming a new version of itself. None of this is weakness. None of this is failure. None of this means you were supposed to dim your light. Quite the opposite. Every discomfort around you is a quiet confirmation that you're headed exactly where you need to be. Jesus never lights a flame to leave it hidden. He lights it to guide paths. And the first path it illuminates is your own. When the light Jesus placed in you finally finds space to shine, things begin to shift. First inside, then outside. It's as if each ray slowly moves through the layers of your soul, rearranging what was disordered, bringing clarity where there was confusion, calming storms that felt endless. Transformation doesn't begin in the outer world. It begins in the quiet within. Suddenly, thoughts that once felt foggy start becoming clearer. Your mind opens like windows thrown wide. Peace, once so distant, begins to approach you gently, almost shyly. Your intuition strengthens, guiding your steps with a wisdom you didn't know you carried. The light helps you see paths that were always there but hidden by emotional darkness. Then the outer world begins to shift naturally. Doors that once stayed shut begin to open without effort. Situations that felt blocked start to flow. Relationships adjust. Some grow stronger. Some dissolve gracefully. Everything aligns with the new vibration you radiate. Opportunities appear unexpectedly, as if the universe recognizes your glow and responds to it. When his light enters, the chaos leaves. Not because life becomes perfect, but because the light gives you clarity to walk even when you cannot see far ahead. It restores your ability to hope, to dream, to believe in what once felt impossible. And the deepest transformation is this. You begin to remember who you've always been, before the world tried to convince you otherwise. Light doesn't only illuminate, it transforms, quietly, like a gentle force guiding you back home to yourself. Keeping the light Jesus placed within you. Burning isn't physical effort, nor a fight against the world. It's inner care, a daily choice, a quiet gesture of honoring the essence you carry. Light grows in places that nurture the soul, not in places that drain it. That's why keeping this light alive begins inside you, in the spaces where your mind rests and your heart breathes. Inner silence is one of those spaces. Not the silence that comes from lack of noise outside, but the silence born when you allow yourself a moment to pause and listen to your own soul. In that silence, the light grows stronger. Every pause becomes an invisible breath feeding the flame. Light doesn't grow in chaos. It grows in stillness. Taking a few moments each day to return to that quiet is a way of honoring what Jesus placed within you. Discernment is also essential. Not everything that shines is light. Not every voice deserves space inside your heart. Some environments, people, and situations drain your energy like empty wells. The more you give, the less you have. Protecting your light isn't selfish. It's wisdom. Light grows in truth, not in pretension. And discerning what nourishes your soul versus what weakens your spirit is one of the most powerful forms of self-care. Gratitude is another nourishment for the light. It works like a lens that clears your vision, allowing you to see beauty even on difficult days. Gratitude doesn't deny pain, it transforms it. It creates space for Jesus' presence to show itself in small details, subtle gestures, quiet miracles happening without your awareness. When you practice gratitude, you brighten your inner light in a way no darkness can undo. And remember to step away from environments that drain you. It's not about isolating yourself. It's about choosing where your soul can breathe. Some places lift you up, others weigh you down. Some conversations brighten you, others dim you. Some people recognize your light, others don't know how to handle it. And that is okay. Keeping your light alive is knowing where you bloom and where you wilt, and choosing consciously where to stand. Above all, remember, the light of Jesus doesn't depend on the weather inside your soul. It doesn't fade on cloudy days, doesn't disappear when you're tired. doesn't hide when you feel you've failed. His light stays, steady, quiet, patient, waiting for you to look within again. Keeping your light alive is often just remembering that it never left. In the end, keeping your light burning isn't a ritual. It's a return. A return to what's true. A return to what's simple. A return to what Jesus planted in you from the very beginning. Now that you've journeyed through this message, something inside you may feel clearer, more alive, more awake. Because from the start, a spiritual truth was quietly pulsing between every line. There is a light in you. A light that didn't appear by chance, that didn't form from nothing, that doesn't depend on what you've lived or haven't lived. There is a light placed in you with purpose, and that purpose cannot be erased. Jesus placed this light with intention, with love, with vision. He saw something in you long before anyone else had the chance to define who you were. This light that follows you, often in silence, is the same one that holds you together in hard days, the same one that pushes you forward when everything says to quit, the same one that calls you to go further than fear wants to allow. And today, through this message, Jesus gives you 3 words that are more than instructions. They are gateways to a new season of your life. Keep going. Trust. Rise. Keep going, because the path He is building within you is real, even if you can't see it yet. Trust, because spiritual movements are unfolding this very moment, even if you can't feel them. Rise, because nothing you've been through has diminished the value of the light He placed in you. You are not broken. You're being rebuilt. You're not behind. You're being prepared. You're not lost. You're being guided. If this message stirred something inside you, don't ignore it. Spiritual signs don't arrive by accident, and words like these don't appear without direction. Light ignites light, and yours is ready to shine brighter than ever. Maybe that's why you found this video now. Maybe that's why, deep down, you felt you needed to hear this. The soul recognizes when it's being called. Before you leave, let this question echo for a moment. What else does Jesus want to reveal through your light? That answer only your spirit can discover, and it discovers it by walking. If this message embraced you in any way, share a simple Amen in the comments. It's not a magic word, it's a spiritual confirmation, a gesture of acknowledging the light within you. And if you know someone who needs strength, hope, or a sign, share this video with them. The light you carry can ignite someone else's. And if you want to keep receiving messages like this, subscribe to the channel, not out of obligation, but because maybe this is the space where your soul finds direction and rest. Jesus saw something in you long before you saw it in yourself. And today, He's reminding you who you are. The light is alive, and it's yours.